Mr. Kotler is here.
Okay, Dr. Gershio, you're good.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the December 2023 public meeting of the Citizens Police Review Board. And this evening, the agenda is that we will have, it will be the opening remarks, board business followed by, and I don't believe we have quorum tonight, so there will not be a case review, but we will attend to those at our January meeting. And then for those of you that would like to make a public comment, if you could put in the chat that you would like to speak, and you will have 3 minutes at the end of the meeting. So without further ado, I want to welcome our newest member of the board, Mr. Butler, and Miss Terry Shields. So welcome to your first official board meeting of the Citizens Police Review Board.
Dr. Gershio, I believe you do have a quorum.
Oh, we do? Okay, good. So we will be doing case reviews this evening. So without further ado, so is it absences? Do we have anybody that is not able to join us tonight, Beth?
Dr. Lucas Darby did advise that she had a conflict with another meeting. She would try, but if she wasn't, it was because of that conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Robinson is involved with a family situation, which may prevent him from being here tonight.
Okay. So our members are myself, Mr. Williams, welcome Mr. Williams, Miss Terry Shields, and Mr. Butler. M. Greg Kotler is with us also. Welcome all new members. Without further ado, I have no report tonight, but I would like to ask our executive director, Beth, to give her report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, members, and welcome, Mr. Kotler and Ms. Shields. It's great to have you, and Mr. Williams, it's wonderful to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We had our budget hearing this morning with City Council, and all is fine. There's been no change from our budget earlier in this year budget preparation. Everything is fine there. Our intake for the year thus far, year to date today, 217 complaints received. Of that 217, 22 were out of our jurisdiction. 7 exceeded the permissible time limit to file a complaint. That leaves us with 146 pending the citizens' actions. Interestingly enough, Mrs. Kirshner did prepare a summary of complaints from the zones. Over the years, we've done that to get an idea of where are these encounters turning into something where a civilian is so dissatisfied that they file a complaint. And maybe not surprisingly, but Zone 3 thus far has the greatest number of complaints filed with us. And that's probably reasonable given the hospitality district and the kind of actions that go on, excuse me, in the South Side. Compared to this year, 217 to 2022, we received a total of 232 complaints. And in 2021, we had received 227 complaints. So we're still in the ballpark of what we've been seeing, a decline, a little bit, jittery either way, but overall, these numbers are significantly lower than what we're accustomed to over the many years that the board's been receiving complaints. Ms. Shields and Mr. Kotler were sworn into their seats last Tuesday, November 28th, by the Honorable Teresa Cale Smith, Council President. She has been accommodating us over the last couple of years in We really appreciated her coming and making herself available that night. But that allowed us to include Ms. Shields and Mr. Kotler in the receipt of all the documents necessary to prepare for a board meeting. Part of my report tonight is a guest, Chief Scarata, who I see has joined us. He is on a very limited time, so we're going to try to keep this to within 15 minutes. And I suspect that he would be happy to come back in January if we have a further discussion, but I won't take up your time, Chief. Thank you for coming. I did provide you a list of things that I was hoping you could address related to the reorganization of the Bureau.
Thank you for having me. Let's get started. Questions, comments, and I'll let you lead the way, and I'll answer accordingly.
Well, we've heard some community feedback related to the elimination of the community engagement unit. That was a rather popular group of officers, you know, the work that they were doing. And we also know your philosophy that everybody is a community officer. But could you give us a little bit more detail as to why you?
Yeah, so, you know, the reality was we have 90 neighborhoods and we had 3 people responsible for all 90 neighborhoods, or 4 people at some point, just depending on their configuration. The true reality of it is that in that they did a great job. However, I know we can do much better. And with a more defined approach, that we have our officers that are in the patrol zones have responsibility for areas within the zone. We have sergeants that have responsibility for the community groups within the zone, and that we're getting a much more comprehensive approach toward engagement because we're doing it much more consistently across the city. So you're not seeing an engagement officer or community resource officer once or every 3rd or 4th meeting, that we're actually visible and available. And I talk about that 2 A's, availability and accessibility, and that we're making our officers available and accessible consistently, constantly, and within our neighborhoods, and more importantly, within the neighborhoods that they have responsibility for. And so that we're not going to lose. My biggest concern was that we didn't lose connectivity with our community groups, with our public safety councils, with our neighborhood councils, and that we were much more engaged with the members of the Bureau that actually answer the calls for service, and that it wasn't going to be the responsibility of a select few individuals, an office or a program, that it's going to be a philosophy. And to do that, you've got to start somewhere. And this is where we start. So we're being very intentional to ensure that we're not unplugging anything, and where community feels like there's a disconnection of services or disconnect to services or resources, but that we are being very thoughtful in the approach. What we're going to do is, if for those on the call that don't know, Zone 1 Cares was created with the Buell Foundation and Northside. And in that, they identified 9 sectors of responsibility, officers assigned to those sectors, a sergeant assigned to those sectors, and they focus on engagement and quality of life concerns. They're very intentional about the communication piece and that level of connectivity. So in that, we're going to duplicate that through all 6 patrol zones. And a very similar approach, but we're going to take it with all of the Bureau's resources and support and do it instead of just doing it in one zone. And it'll clearly define, if you guys take a look at, if anybody's on here wants to look at Zone 1 Cares, you see the approach that they've taken over the north side. And it's exceptional. And it will work citywide with the support of my office, and more importantly, the support of the officers and our partners within the communities as we move forward in 24.
Thank you, Chief. We'll make sure that our members receive further information on Zone 1 Cares. Another area that we've had some comments about is the street response unit. You know, the history that these neighborhoods have had with the street response units of the past. How do you present these as different from the experience of the past?
I think it's so the street crimes unit is a very different approach to what has been done in the past. For those who don't know, I was a sergeant along with then Sergeant Eric Holmes from 09 and 29 to 09 and 10. And we had a unit similar to this, which was very high functioning, very intelligence driven, and was not in any way, shape, or form a source of contention and or disruption in our communities. As a matter of fact, in those 2 years, we had one citizen complaint. And that's tremendous for a unit that does that type of work. What this unit is an intelligence-led unit that uses data and information to focus on those select few individuals within our community that are predetermined to commit gun violence. This is not a jump out squad. This is not a saturation type of police response. This is intelligent-led precision policing. And they focus on those individuals within our community that are intent on doing the most harm. When they do that, it's not just about the guns and those individuals. It's about building relationships as well. So if didn't notice, maybe people do, sometimes people don't. Like we were at the Turkey Drive in Garfield with those officers giving out turkeys to the community, making sure that we're building relationships. We'll be partnering with the Boys and Girls Club and Bigs and Blue, the Y. We're going to be also working as equally as focused on community engagement and partnerships with our young people in our marginalized communities, in the Black community, in the Latino community, the areas in which they'll focus most of their efforts because that's where violence will dictate their focus to go. But it's not just about those individuals that we have determined to be the most harmful for our city. It's about building relationships in those communities as well. So it doesn't feel like over policing. It doesn't feel like we've cast a net on a neighborhood and everybody's subject to this police presence. It's about being very strategic in who we focus on, how we focus on them, so that we are being true to what group violence intervention actually is. And that's identifying people that cause harm, giving them an option to seek services, providing resources through outreach, and then for those people that refuse those services, then we focus on them from the criminal justice perspective. And with that, it takes a particular type of officer with a particular type of temperament, particular type of commitment, and an oversight that is unlike some of these other units that have existed and created controversy for their cities. This is from the selection to the job description to the supervision. It's all carefully thought out so that it isn't some ad hoc group of young officers running around terrorizing a neighborhood. That this is a strategy that has the right officers with the right temperament, with the right supervision, with the right direction. And that's what's different about this street crimes unit than some of those that you would have heard of in the past, the Memphis Scorpion units. We didn't give it acronyms for that reason. This is meant to be a part of our group violence intervention strategy. This is meant to be what is my number one strategic initiative, and that's reduction of violence, specifically gun violence in our city.
And with that aspiration, Chief, do you have, I know you're facing a severe staff decline, a shortage of officers, and it's going to be a long time to catch that up to where your authorized level of personnel is. I noticed that you have proposed a community service aid or community safety aid. I think that's the term. The
community service aid.
Title.
Yeah, community service aid.
How does that supplement and support your goals? How will they?
So it's twofold in that the community service aid was a way for us to engage our young people that are participating in programs like CTE and the Boys and Girls Club and CCAC Brushing and inner city young people throughout our neighborhood programs, and to bring them on, hire them in conjunction with our police officers. It serves twofold. It serves to be a mentoring opportunity for our young people that sit in that age bracket of 18 to 22 that may not be eligible to be part of the police department, but want to be a part of our profession. And it gives us the ability to recruit a diverse employee that has and is from the city, that has city values, that has city connection and relationships. And hopefully it starts to minimize the retention issue that we have with departures, knowing that they've come from our community. They're young people within our community, in our city programs that know the city. And in that, that also then serves the purpose of being able to respond to those calls for service that don't require a firearm. And it won't be all 18 to 22-year-olds, because I think there'll be some value and some maturity, some wisdom that comes from members of the community that will serve to influence them as well, not only just our police officers. So I look at this as, we haven't done this in the past, and there's a lot of cities that don't do it or haven't done it, but that this gives us an opportunity for instance, calls for service. We know the number of officers we have is finite, and in that, what they're responding to, and then the ability for we respond to a burglary call, for example. And when the officers get there, they realize the burglary has occurred. There's no safety issues. There's nobody on the scene. This is purely a report. And in that, the community service aide will come and take the report. Traffic complaints, the parking complaints that we speak to, the 10,000 of them, they'll be working in conjunction with our traffic unit to handle those calls. The same way that they will be community engaged with our street crimes unit and our zone units, that they're participating in community events, that they'll be very public facing because they're from our community. And it gives us a real opportunity to mentor those young people into the Bureau. And so it helps us probably on 3 or 4 different levels, whether it's related to recruiting, to retention, to engagement, to minimizing call impact on our sworn officers. So that's what created the energy behind this. And I'm just really glad that council up to this point has supported it moving forward, as well as the mayor's office and the public safety director.
And I think you'll find this board very supportive. About 20 years ago, they recommended consideration of a cadet program. And that sounds like this is what the roots of this idea, the philosophy behind it, as a great recruitment tool too. So if we can support you in that endeavor, just let us know, okay?
I read some of your works back then, Beth, I promise.
Well, and along those lines about this retention issue, are there any incentives, or can officers come back? Is there incentive to try to get them to come back?
I know there's been discussion, and it will take the change, and I'm not sure if it's in ordinance and or in charter, but it's relative to the pension language. There's been a great deal of discussion about what that looks like in the near future of allowing officers to come back into other roles within the Bureau and or the city generally. You can use OMI as an example. If we're going to start civilianizing these roles as we move forward, that we have to have the ability. I think it's important to have those that have departed to be able to come back. We're going to pay that salary to someone. And so I don't know what creates the pension barrier. I know right now it's language and law that is that issue, but that we are seeking to move past that. I just don't know the direction at the current time in this conversation that OMB is taking it moving forward into 2024.
Well, we would like to be supportive of anything that would be a positive effort to bring those who we've invested in back, and those who have knowledge of the city, of course. I mean, if they get out there and find that the grass is not as green as they thought on the other side, they may want to return. Madam Chair, I think given the chief's limited time, we have about 4 minutes. So if someone wants to ask the chief anything, if Madam Chair.
I'll give you 5.
Thanks.
The lightning round.
Thanks, Chief.
Yes.
Again, we have folks out there on Facebook and all. Does anybody have any questions? Members?
I have a question.
Yes.
I like all the programs that you just talked about, and I'm new to this board, new to this whole realm. So how do you get the information to get because I have a nonprofit and there's nonprofits in the community. So how do you get the information to get the kids involved in what you just mentioned?
You know, and I'm probably
Activity.
speaking for the first time is that we haven't done it, and so we're going to look to explore it a little further. Is like start engaging these community groups that have a large following, a large connection with youth programs, and more importantly, that the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police start investing in those groups that have shown the desire to have connection with police and young people in our communities. If the asset forfeiture fund allows me to provide financial resources to groups like that, up to $25,000 a year. So looking throughout the city to utilize that fund, those dollars to support those groups that do that. And more importantly, then supports that connection between police and young people. So we'll be working toward that early parts of 24, just starting to have the conversations now about what that looks like, but that's where that some of that funding should go. And I think when we do that, then it creates incentive not only for the police department, but for the groups to stay better connected with us. And a lot of times the struggle is about finances, and we can maybe ease some of those issues for those groups that have shown the willingness to be a partner in this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I
Yes.
think we have somebody in the chat. Were you certified by the state when you assisted in the arrest of William Parker?
No, I was not.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, panelists, board members, staff? Ready. Thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. And again, as Ms. Pittenger said, we're here to support and to help you as you endeavor on these ideas and initiatives. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Thanks for your support. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chief.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, members, that was awesome that he was able to join us. I apologize that it was for such a short period of time. I'm sure, though, he can come back as often as we wish him to come back. He's been very cooperative, and I think he's been informative, and he's not been hesitant to share with us his goals and aspirations for the Bureau. I'll pick up where I left off because it is important that you know these things. The remaining seats, the terms that have expired and whether or not there will be successors appointed, much of that, 2 of those seats remain pending. But there was a nominee for mayoral seat number 6. There was a confirmation hearing yesterday. That nominee is Dalen Davis. He was interviewed by council yesterday to succeed Dr. Emma Lucas Darby in the mayoral seat number 6. The other 2 seats are still pending, and that would be mayoral seat number 7. There is an incumbent there, our own Mr. Williams. So we are not in any kind of not anxious or worried about that, because Mr. Williams is a law enforcement professional. He is the only LEP we have on board right now because Ms. McClellan departed due to relocation at the end of July. And that is City Council seat number 2. That is also a law enforcement seat.
And Mr. Williams, you did accept that nomination, correct?
I did not accept the nomination. I was not nominated, by the way. I was not the nominee.
Mr. Williams was not nominated for reappointment by the mayor's office. That is correct.
Okay.
By the mayor's office for a mayoral seat.
Gotcha. Mr. Williams, we'll talk over the next week or so. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, I'm sorry, Beth, I just was
That's okay. That's okay. No worries. We've been taunting you with this idea that we're going to be hiring a new investigator now for several months. We have successfully recruited and hired a new investigator, Ms. Nicole Edwards. She will be starting with us on December the 18th. Ms. Edwards has an extensive resume, very interesting and appropriately experienced. She has her Master's of Arts degree in Criminal Justice from IUP. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication from Howard. She also studied at the University of Cambridge, England. She has served 6 years, perhaps, Pennsylvania probation and parole officer. She was a deputy constable in the city of Baton Rouge in Louisiana, and works as a private investigator. So she'll be starting with us on the 18th. You'll get to meet her at your January meeting. And the chief was here. I did mention that we had our budget hearing. And I believe that's all I have for you tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions, members? Hearing none. Our next agenda item is the adoption of our meeting calendar for 2024. I believe it was in your packet. So we need to adopt that, and we adopt it with a motion and a vote. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So we have our adopted calendar. So if everybody could put that on your schedule, that'd be greatly appreciated. So next is our case review.
Dr. Gershow,
Yes.
forgive my interruption, but prior to having a quorum, you moved past the agenda item of adopting our minutes as drafted for October 24th meeting.
Thank you, sir. So about 2 weeks or a week ago, you received the minutes of our, well, actually, we had to wait for a quorum. So we have we didn't meet in November. We're meeting early December. So it's the October 24th meeting minutes that need to be reviewed and approved. So did everybody have an opportunity to look at those minutes? Okay. So hearing that we did, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of 10/24/2023?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Mr. Williams. Or I'm sorry, Bill. So we now can go to our case studies. And those, let me see if I can pull those up quickly. I'm looking, sorry guys.
I have them for you. They're coming.
Okay, thanks, I got them.
Yep, I
think,
got you.
too. Okay, thank you.
Yep. I have to unshare to share it to put it back
Yeah.
up. So give me a second.
I think I have them up too, so. Okay. So we have one for full investigation, case number 07323. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's passed. Now we have 5 for 30-day extension. And those are case number 16223 ED, number 16123, number 14723, number 10923, And the final one is 085-23. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We have one case that is unfounded. It's case number 137-23. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have one that is unsustainable, and that is case number 01623. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. We have 6 cases that are that are suspended. Case number 155-23, case number 136-23. Hold on. 131-23, 113-23, and 106-23 and 049-23. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And we have 19 that, again, these are the summaries that we go over each month. And that's case number 083-23, case number 055-23, case number 043-23, case number 025-23, case number 029-23, case number 028-23, case number 016-23, case number 101-23, case number 206-22, case number 181-22, case number 102-22, case number 100-22, case number 099-22, case number 035-22, case number 020-22, case number 171-21, case number 252-20, case number 112-20, and case number 87-18ED. I don't believe we take a motion on these. These are for informational only. Am I right, Ms. Pittenger?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about those 19 cases? All right, hearing none. We have a couple announcements here on the agenda, and the most important one is the only announcement is the regular, where our next regular meeting is at 6 p.m. on January 23rd. And again, until further notice, it will be by Zoom, and links will be posted for those of you out in our remote world. Links to all public activities will be posted on our website and our Facebook page. And updates may be delayed, but you might get them a few minutes before, because we are always reviewing our information. So thank you all, and it is time for public comment. And I don't see anything on our chat. Do you see anything out there, Steph?
Mark and Trish said happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, Ozarks. Thanks for being a committed citizens and always here.
He
to
said the
support.
chat is disabled, but I turned it on. That's how Parker was able to get his question in.
Yeah, no, I've never, no. I
But
never.
they say happy holidays.
And
Happy holidays.
That's
for
it.
me, I would say would be like.
Okay, thank you. Whoever needs to mute,
But, yeah, no, nothing down.
thank you. Hearing none, board members and staff, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and wonderful holidays. Unless anybody has anything else to say? Mr. Williams?
Just
I'm
cough.
kidding. Just kidding. Hearing none, do I have a motion at 6:37 to adjourn?
Madam Chair, Madam
Yes,
Chair, may I? That'd be rude to interrupt you, as I
you
often
certainly
do,
can.
with my apologies. But given the time of year and the fact we're going into the holiday season, we have new members joining the team. We've really had quite a remarkable year, coming out from the COVID restrictions and limitations and all of that. But I just want to assure you, you have a fantastic team of staff supporting your efforts and everything you're doing. We as staff couldn't be more blessed than to be working on behalf of a group of remarkable citizens who have given of their time voluntarily, becoming ambassadors to the community, between the community and the police, trying to create a relationship that is healthy, productive, and positive. I just want you to know that we deeply appreciate your service. We appreciate being part of your team. And on behalf of the city, we really appreciate the service that you're providing and wish you the very safest and happiest holiday season. And we will see you in January.
Thank you. And Mr. Ward, it's happy holidays to you too. I forgot to say our solicitor who has been with us through thick and thin. We thank you.
My pleasure. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
Do
the
I hear-
motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
There's my gavel. The meeting has adjourned. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Be safe.
Happy holidays. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well done, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, we got 5 people.
Yes, we have